Alright, here's Alex again from Blacksheep IT Consulting, and now we are clearly in the shenanigans area with exploring new ways, boldly going where few people went before, to deploy Siebel, not bare bone installation, you're running the Siebel installer, be it on Windows or Linux or AIX. No, we use containers this time. So we have Podman on Windows, nice container platform, and we have already cloned the Siebel dev database into a Siebel test database. It's now currently identical, but it will become our database for a new Siebel enterprise. We run as containers the, let's say, a test enterprise, a runtime repository environment, RR environment for testing. So we can, well, explore even more of Siebel functionalities like the full migration, incremental migration, etc. So it all starts with getting the container image. And if you watched carefully, if you watched the Siebel Hub cloud courses, then you know that you can download this image on a monthly basis. Every month there's a new image from Oracle support in exactly the same place where you download the installers. So I've downloaded this, and I'm going to move it to the install folder, as you do. And I'm going to, well, extract it. Just simply so. So that's going to yield two files. The first file you see already extracting is the deployed database file. And the second file is the actual container image for Siebel 2512. Now that one deployed database 19C of 2512, the name already gives it away. This is a database for Oracle 19C. It's actually not an Oracle database engine. It's just a pluggable database that Oracle puts here. For what purpose? Why is it so big? Because it's actually the Siebel sample database. Yeah, believe it or not, here it has found its maybe final resting place or place to stay. It doesn't rest. If you want the Siebel sample database, you have to have a free instance of Oracle 19C. Currently, there's 19C supported. And then you use this container to import the pluggable database that's inside this container. We can't do it here because we have database 23 AI, but there's videos on YouTube on the Siebel Hub channel where you see this working. So we are more interested in this one image, and this happens to be the Siebel container image for 2512. So it's in a compressed format, tar.gz, and we can use the images page in Podman to load the image. So let's add an archive. So you point there it is, open, and well, you click load. And of course that takes a while. It has to be extracted and the layers and disk I/O. So we'll take a few minutes, and then we can go from there and run our containers. And while it's loading, you notice it's only one container image. Like, okay, but we need Siebel servers, we need application interfaces, we need cloud gateways. Well, remember that Siebel is a unified folder structure. So on this Linux image that we're extracting right now, the folder structure is exactly the same as here on that barebone install. So you can use the containers as a Siebel server, as a gateway, and as an AI. So you have one container image, use it multiple times. All right. So yeah, let me pause the video until the image load is complete, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the image has been extracted. So it's, you can see it's named localhost store Oracle Siebel. The tag is 2512. And well, is there anything interesting here? Well, there is a lot here, but let's not talk about it. too much because we keep things simple here. We want a straight recipe to get Siebel down in Podman up and running. So let's see the install notes, and I've put together commands to create the persistence layers for these machines, which is of course important. So we are planning to have multiple machines in this enterprise. We need one file system. Notice the naming convention here for the volumes is test underscore, that is enterprise name underscore, and then the folder or the machine. So that's the file system for the test enterprise. And then we have a number naming convention. We can create up to 99 application interfaces, cloud gateways, and Siebel servers using that naming convention. And we can also, of course, create similar volumes for another enterprise even, if we want to. Okay, so let's run these. Can we run this in PowerShell right away? I think we go with administrator. Okay, well, let's check. Right, we have our volumes ready. So we have volumes, we have the image. Now we need the podman run commands, which are, of course, how do you get that? How do you know which podman run commands to run? That brings us directly to GitHub, to the Oracle Siebel GitHub repository named Configuring Siebel. Why am I going here? This has a long history going back to 2018 when Oracle started an initiative to create Docker images for Siebel, like roll your own image. That was a long time ago. Now, of course, they provide ready-to-use images. And here we still have the containerization Docker image, and you can also, of course, pull that or download that. It's open source practically. So here's for Oracle Linux, the MDE variant. And if you go to Manage, Scripts, Automate Architecture, Launch Siebel, that's all in a bookshelf document, by the way, explains that. You have this start all 19, a reference to Siebel 19, of course now it's Siebel 25, 26. But here you see that a startup of a container-based Siebel, not a Kubernetes controlled or Compose controlled, it's just plain startup script, very simple. You could use, of course, Podman Compose or Docker Compose or Kubernetes or OpenShift, and yes, of course, it's containers. So what we have here is another folder, the generic container folder with a start SAI, start CGW, start SES script. And in that script, let me go back there. So that's a generic container. Let's go, for example, start SES. You see the, input options here. And then you see a Docker run command. So replace Docker with Podman and then make sure to replicate that mostly with the volume mappings and container modes and so forth, and you have yourself a podman run command. So I did that, and with the help of Claude, I added to my documentation, to my growing Siebel deployment guide, if you will, these podman commands, where you can see they are using, of course, the volumes we created, like here, and they are referring to the database that we created, etc. So let's run these 3 commands. So this will get us 1 AI, 1 gateway, and 1 Siebel server, and these will be non-bootstrapped, so they will be just like after the installation, and the internal or external Tomcats, in case of the AI, will be running. So, and the AI will expose port 6443 on the host. So let's give it a try. So I've copied these commands over to the machine. Let's let's run all three of them. So that should give us 3 machines. So the first one's running. Yep, second one, third one. Okay, so you see how fast this is, and we already see a few seconds in, we see the containers spinning up. So, for example, the AI, if we click on it, we can see it's already sleeping. It has started the external Tomcat. The cloud gateway is waiting for connectivity. The Siebel server is, well, let's go to a Siebel server that has the internal Tomcat up, waiting for deployment. Also interesting to see, can it connect to the database? So let's do SQL plus free PDB1, right? That's our clone database, and we are connected. So we have network connectivity, everything. And you have seen this just a few seconds compared to, well, imagine going to 3 different machines running the installer 3 times. That would definitely take longer. And the same is for an update. If I would like to run 26.1 when it comes out, download the containers, extract them, and remove and replace these containers with the new one. The persistence layer, of course, is safe. So you can, for example, run commands like podman machine SSH and then followed by a ls bash command sudo ls, and that would definitely show you the files that are familiar with gateway deployment. There's even the gateway server folder. That's all where the future zookeeper is. So that's all persisted. So that's why you can replace these containers with a new version. Super easy. And look what we get when we go to localhost 127.0.0.1.6443 Siebel SMC. It's not secure because, well, the browser doesn't trust this. The certificate doesn't match. So there's a certificate coming out of the box with the containers. You can change that if you want. And that certificate is on asteriskcompany.com. So now you know why I choose company.com. So if you want to get started quickly, but then of course you can replace these key stores with your own. Yeah, and this the My Custom CA of course does not include the 127.0.0.1 IP address. So yeah, but it's okay for now. And can we log in as the primordial user? So if you want to know that password, it's actually also in the GitHub repository somewhere. And we are in. Okay, the first part of the bootstrap I have already run, and that was connecting to the gateway. So it's now at step 2. The gateway connection, actually, let me show, is when you go to, for example, the AI machine, and you go to the terminal, and you do a ping to any of the network aliases. So, for example, test cgw1 company.com. It can ping it, so the machines can see each other. And that's the important part. So that is actually the host name you use, and port is 4430 on all of these machines out of the box. So now I will continue with the bootstrap. So you see it's perfectly fine. The enterprise configuration, the initial enterprise, is exactly the same. So I will not record it. So you have seen the demo. You can go back to this demo anytime. But here, just to show you the differences when bootstrapping. So here, of course, you have to think inside the container. So this will be our database authentication. We use the host name is, for the database, that is Oracle-Siebel test. more traditional here, 1521, the free PDB1 table owner. Click next, select the data source, and let's test it. Fingers crossed. Yeah, successful. Very good. So we can do step 3. So we can now log in with the real database username. Bye-bye, primordial user. And we are at the registry creation. So 2320 is the port I'm going to use here for the registry. No, let's use 2330 just to keep things easier. And we will create a registry that creates the zookeeper on the cloud gateway machine. So that of course will come back in a moment. If you're fast enough, you can do a top C on the cloud gateway machine. And yeah, you can see the zookeeper is already spun up. Yeah, can you see it here? Zookeeper is already buzzing as a result of what we did. So the Sieb SVC daemon is also up. So from now on, when we stop and start these containers, they will find the configuration files, and of course, it will fire up Zookeeper and be ready for the next part, which of course would be the initial enterprise configuration. So it just came back in the SMC and it's ready, it's bootstrapped. And of course, you can also look into the SMC folder here on the GitHub, Oracle GitHub, to bootstrap and also create profiles. Take it with a grain of salt. It's a bit, these files are a bit ancient, so there might be parameters in there which or there might be parameters missing, etc. So always better to do it manually once and grab the Cloud Gateway commands directly from the browser, so for your automation. But yeah, so we have spun up a Siebel enterprise in no time by cloning a database, cloning the container persistence layer, creating a new container, downloading, getting the Siebel container image, running it 3 different times. So we have the minimum enterprise, and we've already bootstrapped that, and it just took a few minutes. Isn't that wonderful? All right, so I'll stop the video for now. I'll busy myself setting up the initial enterprise here, and I'll see you in the next demo. Thank you, and bye-bye.